Evening and welcome to another edition of the Magpie Circle podcast, our Monday night midweek edition with Mark Stallard and myself. Hope we have just about come to terms with another. We should really give up on going to Crewe, shouldn't we? 2-1 defeat, third successive season injury time winner for the opposition. I don't know whether the grass cutters are still holding up the traffic somewhere between Blythe Bridge and Stoke. That meant many Notts fans just about got in for kickoff. A nightmare day all round. 10 games in, that magical 10, time for assessment time. Mark Stallard will be running the rule on what he thinks of the first 10 games and where we might look to reasonably expect to be this season. Autos, playoffs, mid-table, perhaps even worse. Your thoughts and views are always most welcome on that. Oldham Athletic on Saturday, capped at just over 2,000, not allowing any more in. My views are different, probably to Stell's and to many of you. I'd rather get them all in, get the money off them and have a cracking atmosphere. But equally, the counter argument to that is not to give the opposition any advantage that you can possibly not have to give them. And I don't think there'll be too many Barnsley fans on Tuesday night. Not sure there'll be too many Notts fans. The Vertu Trophy against Barnsley. David McGoldrick, will he be A, in the Barnsley starting 11, B, on the bench, or C, in the Pavis stand with the rest of us? I'm sure he will be there in some shape or form. We'll dive into the message boards, but let's get a few considered thoughts from Stell. Have you recovered from going to Crewe, and should we ever bother going there again?
No, exactly. Who says lightning doesn't strike twice? I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? But yeah, disappointing, really disappointing. And it was a bad day all round. You mentioned the grass cutting. We were held up in that on the A50. So we were pushing it fine. It was a bad day all round because even the key fob for the car, for the BBC car that Adam was driving, that the battery had gone in it. So every time we opened the car, the alarm was going off. We were sat in the car park at the end of the game with the alarm blaring, trying to get this key to work to try and get it switched off so we could come back. It was a day to forget in absolutely every respect, I would imagine. So yeah, really frustrating. Particularly because I thought the performance was decent. You know, I thought we played well, particularly in that second half. But look, if you give goals away like we give goals away, or have done in the opening 10 games, then we are shooting ourselves right in the foot, and that's the reason why when we come to the assessment after 10 games, we're going to say what we say. If they could cut them errors out, them basic errors, then things will look a whole lot rosier. But as we are mid-table team, aren't we?
Okay, we'll dive into that in more detail later in the programme, together with more details of the Radi Avramovic evening and revealing the identity of another 80s Magpies icon who will be joining us. And I've got a third one lined up as well, but we'll keep that one quiet for a little while longer. There's a link in the messages. You all know where to buy your tickets. No apologies for anyone over the age of 50 will be accepted. Let's get some thoughts from the flock. Paul Mantle first on the boards. Evening all, I'm still in Turkey wearing a West Ham top, not quite sure why. A disappointing result Saturday, but onwards and upwards. Jonathan Hammocks has been busy on the keyboard. Evening everyone. 10 games gone. Personally, I'm still optimistic. Take our chances on Saturday and we win. Silly mistakes and lack of ruthlessness is costing us. Part 2. I think if we keep in touch with the playoffs and have a strong January transfer window, we might have a chance this season. Part 3. I think Martin is doing a pretty good job so far, beginning to get the correct formation and players in the right positions. Paul and Mark, keep up the good work as always. Robert Greensmith, thought we played well on Saturday with the quality of balls into the opposition box, mostly from a rejuvenated Jody Jones. We surely should have scored more goals. A poacher and we would have had a field day. Jurgen Halligan thought we played really well, just couldn't convert our chances. 18 shots, but only 6 on target. Walsall had 9 shots, 3 on target and 1. Poor ref let a lot of shirt pulling and pushing go unpunished. Definite penalty, though. Adam Kent mostly agree with what has been said. If we had put our chances away, we were good enough for the win. We didn't. As for the penalty, you see them given sometimes, sometimes not. Frustrating loss. Evening from Paul Huskisson. Tim Watchorn. Shirt pulling has plagued football for years. At times, something was done. Try micro shirts that fit tight to the player. Stephen Geldard, unless we can get a goalkeeper on a free and backup striker, Martin Patterson's hands are tied. Poor transfer window this summer. Everyone's on their jollies in sunnier climes. Sam Draper is in Paxos in the Greek Ionian Islands. Managed to stream the game from on Pie's Player on Saturday. Can't believe the curse of Crewe haunting us again. Nightmare. Colin Metcalf. I thought it was a penalty. My issue is with our complete inability to win balls in our own box from set pieces. It's been reoccurring for too long and needs addressing. Yeah, good observations, Colin. Wouldn't disagree. I'm sure Stell will pick up on those shortly. Evening from Stephen Newton. Needs to do a lot of work with the spine of the team in the next window, says Stephen Geldard. Would not disagree with that either. Graham Oates, evening. He said it twice. He said event all and then evening all. An evening from Richard Elvian. Martin Blaney thought Jatta had a poor game again. Struggled with his touch. Does not win enough headers for me. Should we not have sold him when we had the chance and got in a replacement? Anthony Thomas, recruitment, especially in the goalkeeping position, has been poor. Pato doing his best despite not being able to bring in what he wants. Look at teams who brought in Premier young goalkeepers in the last 2 years. Walsall, Wimbledon, Salford. Does our data tell us a 33-year-old Italian third-tier keeper is better? Richard Elvin struggling with Calla as our number 1. Ray Newton, another 3 points lost in my opinion. Jatta should have scored, but it was definitely a penalty. Gary O'Connor, why can we not put our chances away? Definitely need to look for a proven goal scorer in January. Needed 2 strikers, brackets 1 loan, says Anthony Thomas, instead of Cotter or Bennett. He also adds bring in Jarvis. Traore go out on loan, a big centre back instead of El Joffrey, and an improvement on the goalkeeping positions. Kuyar possibly one to swap out later too. Hello, everyone from Karen Knight. Jurgen Halligan would like to see Jatta and Dennis rekindling their partnership up top. Richard Elvian, again, unhappy with the punching of Keller rather than catching. I think I mentioned this on the Sunday show yesterday. Whatever your thoughts are on punching compared to catching, I think anyone that does, 1% of research on Keller will tell you, and Stell mentioned this to me early on, he's a puncher. He's not a catcher. Never has been in his career, so not quite sure where we are with alignment. But if you're signing someone like Cal Roos, he's going to punch, not catch the majority of the time, because that's the way he's played in goal throughout his career. And clearly at 33, Leopards ain't going to be changing their spots, whatever you think of him. Richard Hawksworth, good performance Saturday, poor in both boxes. So ultimately, we deserved nothing. Ian Cooksey, evening everybody. Not sure the keeper inspires confidence in our defence, and certainly not the fans. You can see a difference, for instance, in Jacob Beddoe this season. Looks a different player to the one from last year. Jurgen Halligan, don't mind Keller punching as long as he gets a decent distance. Gazali, Fed up with being bang average, he's put bang average a la Donald Trump in big capitals. 10.7 million better off, 6,500 season tickets, and a shambles of a squad with little identity. Anthony Thomas, do you think Notts will stick with Calaroos till Christmas, or do you think we're looking for a free agent? We can pick up on that. I mean, it's not the great time to be picking up goalkeepers in free agency, I wouldn't have thought. Hall is fabulous, says Lippy Jane. Evening from Kenneth Pointer. Ian Cooksey, I think we will be a Colchester type team for years to come, just treading water in mid-table with the odd flirtation with the playoffs, but no real ambition. Royston, results like the Crew one hurt for days. Chris Gosling's seen enough in the last two performances to give me hope. It won't take much of a run to propel us up the table. Evening, Paul and Stella and the flock, says Dave Hartshawn. Think I've just got over last weekend. Bring on Oldham. Not forgetting Barnsley in the Vertu Trophy, Dave. Adam Kent, yes, 27 minutes delay on the 8:50. Done well there. A lot of them were a lot longer than that due to that lot cutting the grass. Just made the kickoff. Only one thing, says Ian Haywood, to say about Saturday. We didn't take our chances. Typical Notts. Anthony Thomas likes this shirt, the retro one. Where can we get a shirt like yours, Paul? They've all sold out. There will be a raffle for one in the Raddy night on Friday, October the 24th. I'm not really sure what else to say, actually. I say all these retro ones went very, very quickly. Got a goalkeeping one in the background for Raddy when he comes, as you can probably see. Martin Blaney, why cap away attendance? It's crazy. We need all the income we can get. That's my view, Martin, but I appreciate probably the majority think a different way, and that's what football is all about. We all have our opinions. Dazapai, I think Pato has done a reasonable job considering the hand he has been dealt recruitment wise. I can't see beyond the mid-table finish though. Not seen enough to suggest a promotion push, and still they come. But I'm going to take a break. Stel, professional as opposed to us civilians, you said 10 games before you can judge. So 10 games, won 4, drawn 2, lost 4, slightly positive goal difference, large as a result of the win over Crawley and Shrewsbury. 12th in the table, already a bit of a distance to the top 3, and a decent sized distance to the bottom 2. Your assessment?
Well, yeah, I mean, 10 games, it's a decent sample size. And I think we are where we deserve to be. I think performances in the last 2 games have been much improved. So that's a good sign to take forward. But it's took a while. Obviously, you've only got to go back to that Gillingham game, 3 games ago, where we were poor, really poor. And for the first 6, 7 games we were a bit hit and miss, and I think that's a fairly reasonable summation, I think, of description of the start of our season. I think we've been hit and miss. I think we've been good on occasion, say most notably the last 2, but we've played in fits and starts. We look good for spells, but we've not really dominated other than, I say, the last 2 games, and we've lost one of them last 2 games where we were the dominant team in terms of the flow of the game. So frustrating, yeah. 4 wins out of 10 is okay, but 4 defeats out of 10, that's too many, obviously. And again, we've mentioned it, the people have already mentioned it. If you defend and give goals away like we did on Saturday, then you give yourself a mountain to climb. Yes, they're absolutely right. We said it. We had chances. We should have took them. Most notably, Jatters, I think, that at the post should have taken it. But if you're conceding 2 goals in a game, you are not going to score 3 regularly. It's
Certainly
just
away from home. Certainly away from home.
Exactly. And the thing is, we're conceding 2 goals against a team that didn't really have much of the ball. I don't think Calaroos really had a save to make from open play. He had a free kick that was a comfortable save that I remember in the second half. And, crosses and bits like that, but he didn't have a save to make, really. And they've scored 2 goals, and that's from our inability to defend balls into the penalty area again. And Kelleroos obviously dominates a lot of the press with the papers, if you like, with the fans. Um, and again, Saturday, the first goal, I mean, is well, as I say, comical. It's not a laughing matter, obviously, but just dreadful defending. He gets knocked over like a kid being bullied in a playground at 6'5". Whoever's mocking Dimitri, who we know has got a decent goal scoring record as a centre half, is nowhere to be seen. And it's just an absolute calamity of a goal to concede, where we'd started well, we'd started brightly, and you think, well, we're immediately giving ourselves a mountain to climb, if you like. And they responded really well in the general performance between that first goal and obviously Crew's second goal. We were by far the better team. I thought, I say we did have chances. We got the equaliser, good goal. And there was some really good individual performance, but it was a good collective performance. But if you give goals away, if you don't score at one end and you let them in at the other end, then you're always going to struggle to achieve anything. And the first 10 games, like I say, my summation has been in we've scored a fair few goals, but in both boxes we need to improve, particularly defending crosses and long throws into our box. I think that's been a particular Achilles heel, and we've been punished for it. And yes, we're not losing games by every game we've lost is the odd goal, 3-2-1s and a 1-0. So we're not getting battered, we're not being overrun by any teams or anything like that. But if you carry on making basic errors, then you will only ever be mid-table. You will only ever be down the bottom half because teams will keep punishing you. So we've got to get better. But the positive side of it is we're not a million miles away. You can eradicate them errors with just some better performances, some more determination. And it's not just Kelleroos. You've got to have people back there to go and win the ball, go and win that first ball. Go and make sure the ball doesn't end up in the back of your net, because we put plenty of balls into Crew's box Saturday and they managed to defend their area pretty well. The block for Jatta's shot towards the end of the first half, was it, that took it wide, was an unbelievable block, but somebody's throwing themselves at it. I think not to have got to do that more. We're being punished, so sometimes we can be a bit doom and gloom on it, and we are being punished when we're not giving up too much. But say if your currency is points and your currency is winning, then obviously 4 defeats out of 10, 40% losing streak, then that isn't good enough.
First contact, Stel, that's one of them buzzwords, isn't it, or phrases. In both boxes, do we get enough of the first contacts? It always seems that or against the half-decent teams, Jody put a lot of balls into the box. A lot of the time, as you've just alluded to, their defenders appear to get the first touch to it. And for a relatively high percentage of balls that come into our box from set pieces, we don't seem to get as high a percentage of first contact as other teams seem to. We've mentioned 3 goals this season have come from set piece delivery, either corner or long throws. Newport as well, where the ball has actually bounced in our 6-yard box. I mean, that's criminal, isn't it?
Yeah, well, absolutely, and all that comes from it. It's not necessarily anything tactical or technical.
No.
That comes from a desire and a drive to go and win the ball, go and get the ball. Yeah, first contact, a lot is made of it, and rightly so, because you obviously want to get first contact on the ball and repel the danger. I think that's more of a problem defensively for us than it has been going forward. I think going forward, we do create bits and we do get on the end of it. I'm thinking of Nick Cerula's header in the second half that the keeper made the save from. Jody down the left, a couple of balls coming back, being pulled back, that we just didn't put away. So in an attacking sense, I think, relatively speaking, we're not too bad. But let's not forget, it's always stacked in the defender's favour because there's generally more of them there to clear the ball. So, excuse me, the big frustration for me is defensively. As you say, we've seen balls bouncing in our 6-yard box and nobody, having that absolute desire and ability to read where the fly. It's a combination of things. Like I say, it's that drive to be there, but you've got to read where the ball's going. You've got to have the strength to either get men out your way or make sure you've got a path to getting the ball. All the best defenders do it. We know this. It's no coincidence the best defenders win loads of headers, is it? Because they can do that. Read the flight of the ball, get their opponent out of the way, show strength to get there, and the desire to actually go and get a touch on the ball, go and make a firm header, the goalkeeper come and catch or punch, or whatever it is. But yeah, absolutely, we've got to improve defensively on that because it's costing us. It's costing us. I don't know what proportion of the goals we've conceded, the 12 league goals we've conceded, what proportion have come from long throws and crosses into our box, corners, set pieces, things like that. I imagine it's a decent percentage and it's too high. It needs to be improved on.
As a pie, I think Pato has done a reasonable job considering the hand he has been dealt. I can't see beyond a mid-table finish, not seen enough to suggest a promotion push. Dale pike it and retransport to Crewe. The train was fine for a change on Saturday and evening, or definitely the right choice was made there by you, Dale. James Knight. James says, I think we will finish mid-table. Please, could we have a good cup run? Paul Topley, my old mucker from Greenwood. Our passing has improved and we play at a higher tempo at least. Ray Newton probably just finishing outside the playoffs unless we shore up the defence. Got my Raddy ticket, says Steve Geldard. Well done. You'll enjoy the night. Matt Arnold said a few times so far, but I genuinely can't remember the last time we conceded a goal where you say, blimey, that was a good goal. Pretty much every goal we concede is down to an error somewhere. Andy Eason, my other half, Dawn, chauffeured us, 4 of us. She has suffered the last 3 defeats at Gresty Road. Never again are we going there, she says. Bud Chatwin, just caught up on Friday night podcast. My mum, who died recently at the age of 91, all our condolences to you. She said she used to be able to hear Rayo being shouted out even in Wilford. Ray O'Brien, yeah, finished top scorer one season from left back. Penalty king, and especially free kicks. What a wand of a left foot he had. A.D. Clark, evening all. Personally, I think Keller keeps being made a scapegoat. He was fouled and nobody marking at the back post. Think he's the number 1 for good, so just need to get behind him. Paul Mantle explains that he's wearing the West Ham top for that lot across the river. Essie Kent, Palmer and Robbo are such a good combination, which makes me confident for the rest of this season. Richard Elvian, Jamel Campbell-Rice always wore junior size shirts. Nothing to pull there. I think he's talking about the shirt pulling being around for a long time. But Chatwin goes on, don't think it's easy on Martin, knowing if we don't get promotion, he could go. Tough challenge for him. Jurgen Halligan, same as Barrow, another late goal. Forgot about the Barrow late goal. 6 points dropped. A.D. Clark, Matty Dennis has been exceptional so far, but silly mistake let everyone down. Strikers should stay out of their own box, Stell. How many pens has Stell given away in his career? We'll find out in a minute. Paul Mantle, need to pull our socks up. Let's hope our win over Shrewsbury wasn't a 6-pointer. Ian Cooksey, would have been 2 draws, so only 2 points dropped. But I agree with the sentiment that you are saying. Remy Sky, Remy out in New York. Hello, friends. I expect no less a crowd when Mr. Mason, Lord Stallard are on camera. I think he's got some magical supporter counter for how many are alive on our show at the minute. Mark, you look like you've lost some weight. Been working out. I know.
Bless you. Bless him.
Update now. Have you got a new set of glasses, Remy, or do you just not wear the ones you're supposed to? Greza has been. I'm sure he's having fitted Freddie Mercury's floor. Freddie Mercury's mum's floor 35 years ago in Mapley. I'm sure he's been out fitting more floors today. Update: I've spoken to Lois Bruff today, our 95 years old mega fan, who's had a season ticket for the past 88 years. She had a fall a couple of weeks ago. She's getting by the day and is hopeful of getting to the Oldham game. Ian Cooksey, spot on, forwards trying to defend in the box. Gazzalee, my lad Dexter's Arnold Town under 16s won 5-1 away at Newstead. To be honest, I'm enjoying coaching more than watching Notts. Andy Easom, any news on the whereabouts of Angus MacDonald? No, he's probably run off with a free tracksuit, and that's about as far as it ever went. Martin Blaney, we didn't win because we're not clinical enough due to selling too many quality players and replacing them with average journeymen on free contracts. Ian Cooksey, not happy with two of our wing backs, Bennett and Cotter. It's interesting how everyone was desperate 7 days before the start of the season when we had to sign Keenan Bennett. And it's amazing, weeks a long time in football and all that as to how people's views and perceptions can change. Remy Sky, hang on, it looks a bit eyebrow for me. We've got Emperor Macaulay's gold output since he left. Any word on that one young lad Wolves picked up from Notts Academy a few years ago? That was that Donga Hugh, the Chinese kid. I don't think he's made anything in the game, unfortunately, Remy. Lippy Jane. The away end at Notts is not viable after above 2,000. And the whole road has to be shut, apparently due to the concourse and payment. So have to pay police, more staff, and the cost of the road closure. Martin Blaney, it shows how much we are missing Matty Platt. Lippy Jane, we left at 9:30 and had no problem getting to Crewe. You in a minority of about one, Lippy, for that one. Everyone else I know got stuck in it, including me. What else have we got? Ray 09, 79-80 top scorer, says Stephen Newton. I know he was top scorer 1 year. Reference to Stuart Maynard doing a good job at York from Paul Mantle. Colin Metcalf, with a figure like mine, the last thing I want Notts to do is to bring out a skin-tight replica shirt. Stell's been to the barbers, says Andy Easom. Well, he's off on his jollies soon, and it's his birthday coming up. Bloody firework thing sorted yet. Anthony Thomas, we look generally better than last year, but unless we bring in another keeper, we are in danger of being unlucky every week. But Chatwin, need a player. Here's the one from the past, like Arthur Mann, who I saw score 3 goals direct from a corner with no one touching it. True story. Arthur Mann, hard to believe, Stell. He had a syrup. He wore a wig when he was playing for
Really?
And when you talk to Alan Birchinall, who tells the wonderful story, Birch thought there was a rat in the bath one day, and they looked across, saw Arthur had a bald head, and Arthur gone, "Hey, it's not a rat, it's me syrup." Can't believe it, can you? Arthur never headed the ball. It's true. He had a wig, and he never headed the ball. He used to shoulder it. So he used to do it like that and come off his shoulder. Great. Good player. Played till he was about 40 in the league. Yeah. Arthur Mann. Yeah.
Sounds like an urban myth of a story. That I don't know what I don't know what banter was like in a dressing room back then, obviously in that era, but you'd imagine you got a fair bit of stick for it, maybe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. Reckon Stell is on standby for Strictly, says Gazza. God blimey. Why aren't we able to get loanees from Forest anymore? Makes sense for both parties, says Anthony Thomas. Probably because Nigel Clough seems to snaffle them up at Mansfield at the minute. Right, anyway, right, we're just about up to date on the messages. Keep them coming in. Momentum style, change of style, in transition. Clearly, when you change a manager for having finished in the playoffs, it's a pretty sure sign that you were unhappy with finishing in the playoffs. Yeah. So it can only be assumed that automatic is the target this year. We've played some of the better teams, and as is been customary since we got back into the league, we don't seem to get a very good points record against the better teams. We lost to Gillingham, we lost to Salford, we drew with Bromley. We've tended to beat the teams below us in the division. How far off do you think? Forget playoffs for a minute, because I think the benchmark that we have to judge ourselves by ultimately is getting into the top three. How far off do you think we are, the top three at the minute? Because it's starting to take a little bit of shape there, isn't it, in some of the tried and trusted runners and riders?
Yeah, yeah, we're a way off at the minute. I don't think there's any way we can, sugarcoat it. I think we're a way off automatic top three
Yeah,
with everything we've discussed. The goals we've conceded. You've got, but having said we're a way off that at the minute, that can change by eradicating them problems. That is you address them problems, and then all of a sudden, because the way this league is again going to be this season, it looks like it's again a fairly open league. We've played Gillingham, we've played Salford, who are 3 and 4 in the table at the minute, and lost to both of them by the odd goal in. Well, say Gillingham game was a horrible, forgettable game, and the Salford game wasn't much better either. But we weren't blown away by either of them. So if you imagine that you think you give them a chance of going course and distance, then you say, well, okay, we're behind them, but not miles behind. But I would say both of them beat us comfortably on the respective days. So I think at the minute we are behind them. We've got good players. We've got some good players that we know about. But we also have got players that I still say have got question marks over them. And they've got to prove themselves. And you talk about momentum and things like that. That is massive in football. We saw that again. Who's sitting top of the table at the minute? It's Walsall, I think, at the minute.
yeah.
Now we know they sat top of the table for a long, long time last season and didn't get over the line, hence why they're still in this division. So it can change in football very quickly. The pattern of the last two performances I like, because that shows some sort of progress. That shows to me, and I think I questioned the Gillingham game, players looked like they didn't know what was expected of them. The last two performances look more joined up, more fluid, and more natural, if you like, that players knew what was expected of them. They certainly played better. Now you could say, well, that's since Jodie's gone back out on the left, it gives us more balance. Scott Robertson's come into the middle of the park, a left footer alongside Matt Palmer. So you've got a left footer and a right footer in the middle of the park, and I sort of cheekily mentioned on the radio, we've got one natural in Jody and one inverted wing back
Yeah,
in Nick Cerullo. And I thought of you the minute he bent it in with his left
absolutely.
foot on the right hand side. So I thought you'd be having a wry smile at that. But
Yeah.
but but I
I've
think we've
owned it, Stell, as they say in America. On my blog, I pointed
good.
it out. Yeah, I pointed it
Yeah,
out.
good.
Yeah,
So I think we've had a better balance, certainly with Scott Robertson coming in, Jody moving out to the left hand side. I think that gives us a better balance. I thought Tyrese Hall showed some real quality on Saturday, some real nice touches. Um, so there's positives. The performances again, a modern phrase, is trending in the right direction at the minute. another modern parlance. But they are, and that you string a couple of performances together. Yes, we know the result on Saturday was not what we wanted, of course. But if they can get that level of performance and belief in the performance, then the results should follow. The results should follow. Doesn't always mean they will, but you've got to keep that performance level up. So, yeah, you need a bit of momentum, you need a bit of belief, you need a bit of confidence. But you also, if you can string performances together and people know what they're doing, what their job is, then performances should come a little bit easier, a little bit more naturally. And that's what I'm hoping will happen. I thought for the first 6 or 7 games, we looked hit and miss. I thought we yeah, didn't play particularly well at times, played well in spells, but we shot ourselves in the foot. Going forward, you'd like to think that we can eradicate some of these mistakes, and then you'll pick up points and we'll climb the table, hopefully. But it doesn't just happen. They've got to work hard at it and they've got to eradicate the mistakes. It's easy to say about it. It's easy to dissect any goal and point out the mistakes after the event, but it's harder to be on the pitch and actually do something about it when you may be asking somebody to improve their skill set. And like I say, the bottom, like the elephant in the room, I think that's going to last throughout the season is the recruitment in the summer, isn't it? I think that's the thing that everybody's spoken about and will continue to speak about. And for me, I don't think we've had answers given by enough players that have come in. There's still question marks on them, you know, and they will remain to be question marks hanging over players in the eyes of fans and ourselves and everybody if they don't improve their performances. There's only one way you can change people's mind, and that's by performing on the pitch.
Yeah, uh, I would totally agree with all of that stuff. I mean, 11 new signings, not a high percentage of them playing regularly would kind of tell its own story in terms of now we're 10 games in. Um, I do personally think Martin has been dealt a tough deck of cards. If and someone mentioned spine of the team in one of the messages earlier, and I couldn't agree more. We've been very unlucky to lose Matty Platt. He's part of a spine of the team, but it was of our own volition as a club to sell Alex Bass, and it was the club's own volition not to agree terms with David McGoldrick. And that, for me, is taking a huge amount of real quality, actually in really, really key positions as well. And so I think Martin's probably just about doing the best he can, allied to some people will call it a tweak, some will say it's more substantial than that. We're certainly in transition. But I think one of the challenges, you said from day one, when we talked a lot about strikers, our, our long-term Achilles heel of conceding poor goals and not necessarily being physically combative enough, certainly defensively in our own box, still seems, even with Martin, who I think clearly recognised that the moment he walked into the building, still seems to be an Achilles heel for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, you would say we do look a more physical team. There's no real excuses this
Yeah,
season. We
yeah,
look a bigger, stronger team, with the personnel that's in there. So there's no real there are no real excuses to say, well, hold on, we're a team of 5'10" players, and we've not really got a dominant. We've got some big lads in there, and big strong lads as well. Athletic. Martin said about he wanted the fittest team in the division, and I think in terms of that we're fine. In terms of fitness levels, it's fine. It's not a fitness problem. It, like I say, winning the ball, winning headers at both ends of the pitch is a drive. There's a skill to it, like I've said. But it's that drive and that desire and want to really go and potentially get hurt, but put your head in and put your body on the line and really push yourself. It's the same for strikers. Go, making runs. You make 10 runs, the ball might come once, but the time it comes to you, can you find a finish? Can you have the composure to find a finish? Same with defending. Can you be in the right place at the right time? Be strong enough, commanding enough. There's no excuses in terms of the size or the perceived lack of height. We haven't got any, but we've got to be better. Absolutely got to be better at it, as we've said.
Okay, let's get some more messages from the flock. Apparently, the trend now, says Tim Watchon, is to forget passing at the back, resort more to a direct approach. Colin Metcalf, I mentioned this on the Sunday show. Walsall have Aidan Flint, just the type of player we should have been signing. A couple of players of his ilk would have made a world of difference to us. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with Aidan. Is he the quickest? No. Will he head it? Yes. Has he got promotions on his CV? Yes. He's clearly had an impact at Walsall. What else have we got? The quality of the new signings, says Matthew Taylor, must be the reason why we parted with the director of football so quickly. 4 months before we parted company. I guess we'll never really know, Matthew. Mutual consent, that catch-all phrase, means we will probably never ever find out, sadly. Did Stell get vertigo? Asks Dale Pikett at the back of that stand while doing commentary on Saturday. You still probably had a better view than we did, to be fair, Stell.
Yeah, I say it is high. Your legs feel it going up the steps to get to the back. That they certainly do. But yeah, we couldn't see Jodrell Bank. That's always my judge. It must have been a murky day. You can usually see Jodrell Bank on a clear day in the distance, but we didn't on Saturday. But yeah, it's a big old stand, as you know.
Yeah, Matthew Taylor. Based on the first 10 games, we need a new goalkeeper on the 1st of January. And again, look, we don't want this to be scapegoating, but I think there is concern about the goalkeeper. And I think part of Keller's challenge is clearly he is following in the footsteps of someone who I think, by popular opinion, would have been one of the top 2 or 3 goalkeepers in their position. And I think there's probably still a sense of grievance among many fans that, irrespective of the transfer fee, whatever it was, that we allowed him to leave. We did. That's history now. And in answer to earlier questions, I would imagine that we will be with Kel for the foreseeable future at the minute, and it's up to him. Test of strength, test of character. Keep getting on with the job. Anthony Thomas, I agree about Aidan Flint. Totally gettable signing too. If not, Belshaw from Harrogate. He's a Notts lad, experienced, good with his feet, and I know at some point he would like to come back to the club as well. Jurgen Halligan, get Slocum in. I think Sam's goalkeeping gloves have been well and truly hung up now, Jurgen. The next game, Stell, the Vertu Trophy, Barnsley, Tuesday night. What do we do? Wholesale changes? Do we see Jarvis de-thawed from the eastern outskirts of Siberia?
Yeah, I think we will. Yeah, if that looked like the Vertu team, if we're going to call it that, the trophy team, whatever you want to call it, up at Lincoln, he got his out in there, didn't he? And I think he might be unfrozen again, defrosted, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, him and a few others that are available that we're not seeing in the 18. My Traore, again, we've not had any report that he's had an injury, not on the bench, not in the 18.
Yeah, Griffiths in goal. You put Griffiths in tomorrow. He played
probably.
previously.
Yeah, I think he played. So what there was the 10 changes, weren't they? I think it was only Sonny Al Joffrey that played in the Lincoln game that had played in the previous league game. The other 10 were all changed. So I'm expecting exactly the same. Again, we've got the numbers in the squad to do it. So you've got you've got a reason to change it. You've got a reason to look at other players. And again, we're not playing so well and performing so well in the first team, if you want to call it the first team, that there aren't positions up for grabs. So yeah, I think it'll be a wholesale change, and you might see another 10 changes from Saturday, to be honest.
Just get out of the competition as quick as we can.
No, you go to win the game. You go to win the games. As I say, whatever you're in the competition and you're playing your squad players, why you wouldn't want to get out the competition? People might say, well, it looks like we're not playing to win. No, they're playing to win because every game in that competition, if you've got a squad that can cover it, you can make all changes, and it's giving you competitive minutes in some players that once you're out of the competition, they're probably not going to get any competitive minutes unless they come off the bench or do things like that. So no, they're not wanting to get out the competition, but it is the opportunity to get minutes in players' legs, have a look at things that experiment with things that you wouldn't experiment with in a league game. So look, it's a chance, as I always say, it's a chance for people to show what they can do. Give the manager a nudge. There are places there. There are positions in the first team, in the league team, if you like, because we ain't doing so well that we're untouchable. So I expect changes, but it's not with a view to being out the competition. No.
You're not going to be there, though, are you? You're ducking it.
No, I am going to be in warmer climes. Yeah, we're off on holiday. so
Excellent
that's
time.
that's one of the changes. Yeah, I'm not doing it. No.
Now, hey, and there's a little whisper doing the rounds that one of your replacements for one of the next two games you won't be seeing, Mr. Bishop.
Yeah, yep. So that's the predict. I think Tomo is doing one, John Thompson, and Bish is doing another one. I think Tomo's doing tomorrow night, and Bish Saturday, but I might have that the wrong way round.
Yeah, because Bish was fairly direct, wasn't he, last time in your absence? I don't know if you
So I
heard him
hear. Yeah,
comment.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I hear. Yeah.
yeah. To be fair, I like Bish. Good playing record, got a few promotions.
Yeah.
In a way, I find it sad that he is now as synonymous with Mansfield as he was with Notts, because he was at Notts, he was part of the Munto era. And, I just think, he could have got on and done quite a bit more for Notts, but I thought we let him go far too early, as
Yeah. Well.
Mansfield kind of demonstrated, with a few years later getting promotions with them.
Yeah, that's it. But I say players can get to a certain stage of their career, and it's always on people's judgment, isn't it? People at the club at the time making judgments on players, just like we've been talking about. What's happened this summer, the likes of David McGoldrick, the judgments, and you rightly say about Alex Bass, whether to sell him, what fee, what price. Every player's got a price. All them sort of decisions are based on somebody ultimately, but there's a collective, but it's based on people's judgment, and that's the beauty of football, that we've all got different opinions about different things. Some things we agree on, some things we don't, but everybody's got an opinion, and that's the beauty of the game, isn't it? That everybody has an opinion. When you're a player, you're reliant on the manager's opinion of you, the coach's opinion, the chairman's opinion of you, whoever's going to give you a contract and pay your wages, and then obviously your fans' opinions. So look, it's all opinion based, of course, but yeah, Bish was one of them players. But you could add him to a long list of players, couldn't you? That people say we should have kept him, we should have kept him, we shouldn't have got rid of. There's a lot of that in football, a lot of it.
Yeah. One thing that was mentioned, I've not had a chance to put it to you yet, a wry smile. Unfortunately, it was Matty Dennis, centre forward, giving away the penalty. I think the common consensus is it probably was a penalty. I don't think we're going to have too many complaints. Strikers in opposition boxes. I mean, what were you like defending set pieces, or were you left? Were you left on the halfway line most of the time?
I wish I was. Yeah, I wish I was. Believe me, every striker does not want to come back and defend, but you have to. You do have to. You can't just go, well, I'm standing halfway line, leave it to somebody else. Yeah, in answer to that, whoever put the question earlier, no, I can't remember, and I've not got the greatest memory of my own career, obviously. I can't remember ever giving a penalty away when I came back. I do remember, not a penalty, but I do remember being in a wall, and when somebody makes a run down the side of the wall, I was the idiot that stepped out the wall and they bent it through the gap that I'd left. I'm sure that was at Meadow Lane against somebody. I got absolutely. Well, I don't. What can I say on it? I got absolutely castigated in the absolutely, and I knew it. It's terrible. But yeah,
Who was the manager? Who was the manager who dished it out to you?
Oh God, I think it might have been Jockey Scott. I think it might have been Jockey. Um, Paul, there's that many managers had a go at me. Every single one of them. But which one was specific for that one? I don't remember. But yeah, what I'm saying, like I say, you've got to come back. It's part of the job for strikers. You're right. I think it was a penalty on Saturday. There was no complaints from the players really. You see it again. It's a clear holding of the shirt from Matty Dennis. we spoke to the analyst after the game, and he sort of, yeah, shrugged his face to say, yeah, it looks a penalty. The frustration is that shirt pulling goes on in
Yeah, it's
every single set piece, right?
yeah,
And again, you stretch the rules, you push the rules. Every player, it's about pushing the rules before, but not pushing them too far. You can't be obvious with it. The minute the decision goes against you, you push the rules too far. You've made a mistake. So it's frustrating, but it just is that thing. But in terms of having strikers, believe me, do not want to come back and defend. That's why you're strikers. You want to be up the other end of the pitch, but it's part of the job. You've got to go and do it, and you do it to the best of your ability, because you're doing a job for the team. So yeah, just frustrating, annoying. Probably the first thing Matt Dennis has done wrong, but you know it's a bitter pill to swallow, but you can't just say, no, he's a centre forward, stick him up the other end of the pitch, because you wouldn't have enough bodies back to defend the opposition.
yeah. I mean, I always think back, of modern times, the best team that seemed to have known how to stretch or bend the rules most effectively were Wimbledon. In the 3 games that they played against us, and there must be some. I'm sure there's an art form in knowing, in understanding the alignment, the angle where the ref is, and where your arm is on the player's shirt. And just
Yeah,
not doing it in full view, but round the back and all the rest of it, because
yeah,
it's probably an art. Dark arts, call it whatever you will. It and lots of some fans have said they thought the referee was very poor on Saturday. The Premier League ref, as you would know, Paul Tierney. I
yeah,
actually
Paul.
thought he was a decent ref. To be fair, I don't think we can blame him in any way. He booked one of their players inside a minute, didn't he, for that rash
Yeah,
challenge early on? Did he miss things? Absolutely. I think it's impossible not to miss things in the modern game. The pace and the art at which it's now done with the pushing and, contact is allowed, isn't it? And on the one
yeah,
hand, in the
oh yeah,
penalty box, we always say, oh, he's touched him, it's a penalty. And we've had this conversation before.
yeah, no,
Football is a contact sport. You are allowed to touch other players, shoulder barge players, all of them
yeah,
sorts of things. Some people will make a case that Keller Roos was fouled. Yeah, because the guy is kind of tried to block him, run across him. Other people will say, well, yeah, but Keller should have been physically stronger. Yeah. If you're a centre forward in a box, the slightest touch, you're down, aren't you? You're down. So I do think it's a pretty thankless task for refs. I just thought with Matty Dennis, it just looked a bit obvious, didn't it? It
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
round the back of him, was it? It was, and you could see the shirt just pulled away from the body.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, like I say, even as a striker, you try and get a bit of your defender shirt when you're pinning a defender. I
Yeah,
loved used to be able to get a bit of his shirt because I knew then he couldn't run away from me or
yeah,
whatever. I knew where he
yeah,
was, you know. And obviously, part of that is a foul if it's spotted, or it's a foul. It can be given as a foul if it's spotted. Part of the skill is not being spotted.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
sounds
Yeah,
obvious that's the thing. That's part of the skill of bending the rules. Is bend the rules, push the rules. Of course you can. As long as you don't get found out, then you're fine with it. The minute it's a free kick, well, you've made a mistake. So it's part and parcel of the game. It's part and parcel of players' skill sets. Every player on that pitch will be pulling, pushing, having a bit of shirt at some point in the game. Some more than others. Some positions require more, close contact, if you like, than others. But absolutely part and parcel of the game. And partly, Paul, it would be fascinating if you could get some fans onto a pitch and show them the amount of physicality, the amount of rule breaking, if you like, if
yeah,
it was absolutely spotted, and
yeah,
to show them quite how physical and quite how, you know, naughty the players are, if you like, that you don't always pick up on. So it would be interesting. You could do that. I don't know how you would do that, but there's a load of it goes on. But the art of it is not getting caught. It's like when you're being a naughty kid at home, you're doing something you shouldn't do. The art is not letting your mum and dad find out that you're doing it. So it's that sort of thing. And look, again, there's always going to be shirt pulling at every single set piece, and you go, well, why aren't they all penalties? And why, it just never is going to be given. It's got to be, like you said, that looked obvious. It looked worse. It looked more
yeah.
dramatic. The clear shirt pull. So the referees say got no option. You might feel, well, sometimes you still see them not given sometimes. but we're on the wrong end of it on Saturday. It's the Gresty Road curse. And just for the record, I don't think Kelleroos was fouled at all on Saturday. The lads run across him. I think he's got to be stronger. But also, like I say, it's not just Kelleroos. We've got to defend the ball, and we've got
Yeah.
to mark men better. Dimitri, as I said, free header. So no, it's yeah, the dark arts go on. It would be fascinating to be able to really show fans how much of it goes on, in off the ball incidents and stuff like that.
The fans forum on Thursday. It's Thursdays. I forgot all about it. Says Dale Pike. It should be interesting. Are you going, Dale? Who else is going? Who's been approved? Sent in their questions. I'm sure we can work out the line of questioning that there will be. Lee recalls 17th of April away at Bradford. Played an amazing game, toe to toe with Bradford for a draw. How far have the two teams gone since then? Bradford are now top of League One. That's what football is all about, Gazza, isn't it? Those fine margins. And for those people who said it wasn't really worth going up, it wouldn't be good enough. Bradford are living proof. You get up, then you address the issue, don't you, and see what you can do. Jurgen Halligan, any news on Grant not in the squad? Is he injured still or not? I've not picked anything up, but
we didn't get told, but we assumed he did. Yeah, we assumed
yeah.
he must have had a knock because he's been sort of ever present either in the 18 anyway, really, when he's fit. So we assume, although nobody confirmed exactly what it was, but yeah.
Anthony Thomas, Bass was a good stopper, but not brilliant with his feet. We got a good fee, not spending it despite saying we don't have to sell our best players is the issue. Ian Cook, see the difference between Bradford and ourselves in one word, says Ian, is ambition. Gary Phillips, what happened to the potential new signing spotted at the ground at the last home game? Yeah, Angus MacDonald, ex Aberdeen Exeter centre half. Yeah, all very quiet, Gary. Not sure if he's still training with us or not, but no one has heard anything. Certainly, there's not been any announcement. Lippy Jane, it's embarrassing for me what's happened between ourselves and Bradford since that game. I have somehow agreed to go to Bradford City for a friend's birthday present. Is Griffin in for a game tomorrow? Says Paul Mantle. I'm pretty sure he'll be starting myself. Derek Flowers. Surely there's a Graham Hogg or a Craig Short out there. Stephen Moore. Oh dear, I'm late to the show, but there is too many glass half empty after Saturday. Come on, we played really well, and the players absolutely busted a gut for the team. It was just one of those days, one of the regular days we have at Crew, sadly, Stephen. Yeah, and I did feel sorry for Martin because I thought fair play to him. You're away from home, and he went for it second half, didn't he, Stal? He put the two strikers on up front, Luca with Hall for a while. For me, he showed bravery, going for the throat. And it certainly wasn't on him, I would say, that we ended up snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, really.
Yeah.
On another day, if we get that second goal, I think we'd have been all right. I think we'd have been all right.
Absolutely, but I mean, like we said at the start, it was nothing tactical or particular, anything like that. There was a difference. The performance was good. I say, just them moments, and we're talking about the difference between us and Bradford, where we've gone since that draw. They are the sliding door moments, aren't they? In football, in life, but in sport particularly, that can change. And you're right, you're absolutely right. You get promoted and then you address things. So people say, look at their ambition, but they've brought in players obviously in the summer because they're promoted. They know they're going to get more money, so on and so forth. So Notts would be showing that same ambition. They've just got to get promoted in the first place, of course. And how we do that. And you talk about sliding door moments. You mentioned earlier about Stuart Maynard being sacked. So is Martin working under the same pressure of, if we don't get promoted, is he going to lose his job? I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I think obviously the brothers have got all this data, all these metrics to judge things on. So I think it won't be quite as black and white as don't get promoted, you're sacked. I think it's more nuanced than that. I think it's about performance data and the key metrics and things like that. And if they see the performances there, the data that is suggestive of him being the right man, then I think it might be different. But let's hope we're not having this conversation at the end of the season. Let's hope we are promoted, whichever way that might be. So just to put a glass half full bit at the end of the program, if somebody thinks we're being too glass half empty, then this can change. Football is fluid, and like I say, look at what's happened between Bradford and us. Nobody was thinking Bradford were going to be top of League One when we were battering them at Meadow Lane. What was that, 18 months or so ago when we were 4-0 up, or a year or so ago? I forget how long ago it was. It was, unbelievable. But now they're sat top of League One, rightly, deservedly so. But that could be not. So that's the bit. And I know people will say, well, it's not looking like it at the minute, and I would agree. It doesn't look like it. But if you rewind to Bradford, however long ago, it wouldn't look like it for them either.
Agreed. Bud Chatwin, sorry, Jurgen Halligan. Problem is selling our best players and not using the money to replace them. Bud Chatwin, not everyone has a price. Paul Rideout was sold, and based on that, we got relegated back in the top flight under Neil Warnock's one season there with us. The only stat that matters, says Ian Cooksey, is that we lost Saturday. Nothing else matters, which is a very black and white view. People know my views on results and nothing else. Adam Kent, I agree with Stephen. We are looking good, and with a bit of the rub of the green, results should improve. We had a penalty shout out on Luca for the same thing, didn't we? Says Adam Kent. Know the one you mean. I didn't think it was just quite as transparent to the referee, Adam. Essie Kent disagrees with me. Referee was hit and miss. Why didn't we get pens when they did it to us? Handball, bad foul on Dennis, all ignored. Can Stell remember when him and Andy Hughes got sent off in the same game? Is that right? I
Yeah.
can't remember that one.
Yeah, and do you know what? That was Wigan. Yeah, we and that was all, of course, of Roy Carroll feigning some sort of injury. Had a kick out at me, so went and squared up with him. Didn't do anything. He hit the deck, and yeah, so I got sent off for that. And then Hughesy got sent off almost immediately afterwards for a second yellow. As the game flared up. Yeah, Wigan and Roy Carroll. Yeah.
Roy Carroll, whose dad was a big Notts
Yes.
fan. Roy used to come and watch Notts a little bit as a kid when he was growing up in Northern Ireland. Of course, went on to be our
No, he knew a few dark arts. I'll tell you that for nothing. But again, that's I call it cute players. I always say you don't want to be nice. You don't want nice players. You
No.
don't want to be a nice team. You know what I mean? So that is it. You've got to know the dark arts. You've got to know how to push it. And he pushed it then, and he got me sent off. So fair play to him. He outsmarted me. Not the biggest claim to fame in the world, not the most difficult thing in the world, but yeah, I do remember that game. Yes,
I've got to say, Stel, very brave, possibly very foolish to square up to Roy Carroll. I know you can look after yourself, but
I was going to say I'm big enough.
Martin Shipley, refs need to be consistent. Jody gets his shirt pulled and he's fouled in the penalty area, and he didn't give it. Nor did the linesman for Dennis. Bud Chatwin, Stell, yeah, he thought it was Preston. We obviously now found it's Wigan, Bud, in terms of the sending off for yourself. Jurgen Halligan's had enough. He's going. I don't know where you're going, Jurgen, but thank you for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. I think we saw each other very briefly coming out of the gents' toilets at the end of the game on Saturday, didn't we? Andy Easom, keep Stell talking. It's keeping him away from packing the suitcases.
He knows exactly what I'm doing after this. That is absolutely right. Yeah.
Bradford signed well in January. Experienced player to make a difference straight away. We didn't. Port Vale rolled the dice too. Andy Eason regards possible postponement of the Swindon game. As I understand it, it's the same for everybody. If you have three senior players called up, you can then apply for a postponement. We had two last time: Kuyar for Afghanistan, Jody Jones for Malta, but Alassania was not called up by Gambia. So those international squads will be announced later this week. You have, I think it's something like Sunday to request the game to be postponed. So I guess we will know probably Friday, Saturday, as to whether there is a possibility the game is postponed. Interestingly, I think I'm right in saying there wasn't a single game in League Two postponed on the last international set of dates. Swindon away, of course, is the next round, is a designated FIFA international week. So no Premier League, no Championship, and then three international players called up, and you can request, and it would normally always be granted for a postponement of the game. Yeah, quite a few going to the fans forum. Jurgen's off to the fans forum. Yeah, Aidan Baldwin for Bradford. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? When we were leaking a few goals, Aidan goes to Bradford and gets promotion. Right, I think we better at least have one question on Oldham, seeing as that we are playing them Saturday. Oldham Stow, big club, been through a lot like us, got relegated, didn't find it necessarily that easy to get back up, but they did it, I think I might say, through the playoffs like us. So you've got two teams who, 30 years ago played each other in the Premier League, or the old Division 1, as it was a imminently about to become the Premier League. 2,000 fans, they've sold out of their end. Probably Oldham, like ourselves, you kind of think you're going to come up and we could really, really do well. But you notice the difference, don't you? You notice the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I say that there is a step up. People will, there are examples of clubs going sort of bang, bang, back-to-back promotions and that. But it's more often that it doesn't happen. And that is because, like I say, there is a step up and some teams can't bridge that gap. Not to say Oldham can't. These are the meanest defence in the division at the minute, statistically, and they're a place below us. So what does that tell you? Having not seen them play, it tells you that they're very organised, very strong defensively. They don't score too many goals either. So, they're tight. They won't give you anything. And coming to Meadow Lane, not so have to earn it. They'll have to work hard. But say they need an improved performance. Well, improved performance like we've had in the last couple of games. But we need to get that end product right in both boxes. Do that, and a back knots to win the game.
Indeed. Let's just wrap up with news for the return of Radi Avramovic, Friday, October the 24th. Delighted to be able to say that Trevor Christie, our top scorer in the top flight, he's coming along on the Friday night as well. There are some other players I have confirmed, but I'm not announcing them all just yet. So we'll tease them in the next few weeks, but promises to be a great night with those 80s icons. Radi Avramovic, only a tenner. Is it? Did you say it's your birthday that night, Stel?
It is my birthday. Yes, I'm.
Well, we'll give you
not,
leave
not
of
available.
absence. We'll
Thank
give you leave
yes.
of absence. Friday, but will you be doing the Cambridge game though?
No, no. I'm away. I'm away. I know.
How many games are you missing? How many
Three.
games?
Three games. I'm back for the Swindon game. It's a different thing. I'd like to say. Look, it's not my fault, is it? I like to say people want to do things with me on my birthday and near my birthday, and oh dear.
Hey, you must have had more greetings and birthday cards from the King last year with yours. Do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think I'm telling you a lie as well there. It's the weekend before I'm away. So I think I will be doing the Cambridge game. It's the week before I'm not. So I'm in and out. My mind's on holiday already, see.
Hey, well, you have a proper break. Those of you who haven't bought the tickets for the Raddy night, you know the link. Act on it now, please. They are selling extremely well. So Raddy will be there. Trevor Christie, very politely christened Tapping Trev by his strike partner Ian McCulloch. And we're trying to get him down from Scotland as well. He's not 100% confirmed yet, but this, of course, will be the first time that many of the lads will have seen Raddy for over 20 to 30 years. So it will be a special night. Get those tickets in. Even Gresham Maxwell has bought a table for 10. You can't, that tells you, doesn't it? That tells you. Thank you, one and all, for your participation tonight. I'll be back Friday. Stell will be on his jollies. Oldham on Saturday. Don't forget, tomorrow evening, I think I'm right in saying I should be getting there early anyway. Beat the crowds. 7 o'clock kickoff, and I think it's only the Pavis stand open for us Notts fans. Everybody pays. Stell, thank you very much. We'll see you in 2026 or whenever it is you're back from your wandering.
I'm not away that long. I'm not away that long. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Yeah, everyone enjoy, and hopefully we get a couple of good results before I'm back.
Thank you very much indeed, one and all. Look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.
Cheers.